warfare the only resort to right-wing doom? It's Worth It: How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northeast Louisiana, Southeast Louisiana, and everywhere our 100,000 watt transmitter is permeating through the nooks and cranny, every nook and cranny, to those who are still receiving their radio via those beautiful FM receivers. But beforehand, I have to say as well, good morning to the world. Because, folks, we got folks listening all over Barcelona, Spain, Inglaterra, which is England, and many other places. But before we get started, let's go in to the one and only studio on Caroline that makes it all happen. Buenos dias, mis hermanos favoritos. Good morning to my favorite brothers, the geniuses in the studio.
And we haven't found any of those yet. Jack was over in his cranny, so I made him come out of here.
Don't.
And good morning, Deutschland.
Yes, other name for Germania, Germany, Alemania. Here you go.
Alemania. That's the French.
And Spanish.
French and Spanish too. Okay.
Yeah, Alemania.
Alemania. Yeah, I knew that. I knew it was in French, but I didn't know it was in Spanish. Well, Egberto, I am just sitting here more disgusted than I was yesterday.
Yes.
After doing the research on the Supreme Court's decision to make Donald Trump king of our country and let him off the hook for, well, dang near everything he did as far as overturning an election or trying to overturn an election. I don't think that falls under the purview of presidential responsibilities, does it? I mean, that's pretty weird to me. And then,
no, it doesn't.
And then to add insult onto injury, the felony conviction trial, they're going to postpone the sentencing until September the 18th or thereabouts, if ever.
Yeah.
What in the hell is going on here? He wasn't even president when that was going on. But no, we have to examine the recent Supreme Court decision. No, you don't. Stick with your schedule. Stop this nonsense. Hold this man responsible for the garbage that he has done. So that's why I'm disgusted this morning. And I think Jack has some wisdom here that I may or may not be disgusted with. I'm not sure.
Let's hear Jack's wisdom. Jack.
Yeah,
it's pretty disgusting. It's pretty disgusting. Good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, my brother.
Right. How does this sound? King Trump. Think about what that means.
Ugh.
The right wants to make a madman king with unlimited power. If power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, then you see the danger of a second Trump presidency kingship. Ugh. A Trump for king means that the citizens will become property of the corporate fascist. That sounds lovely, doesn't it? It's a sad state when money equals free speech, a corporation is a person, and a human being, a citizen, becomes property. Look out, Bill of Rights, you're fixing to get shredded.
Well, they've been shredding that for years.
Yeah.
Well, is that it? I'm starting to get nauseous. I have to leave.
Don't get nauseous. No, don't get nauseous. Nauseated, or rather. Don't get nauseated.
We got a Supreme Court that is so corrupt and co-opted right now that they're passing these little things that say, yes, the rich are above the law.
Mm-hmm. Former presidents are now above the law. I bet old Richard Nixon is just turning over in his grave right now.
Why did I resign?
Hey, wait a minute. I could have gotten away with this. You know, and all I did was order a break-in on the Democratic National Headquarters and record a bunch of tapes. That's nowhere near, getting people killed in a Capitol on a riot that you whipped up. That's what Nixon did, by comparison, is Tinker Toys, and they crucified him. And now they're just like, oh yeah, Trump, it's okay, you can become king. This is
But
Project 2025.
Project 2025. The thing about it is, we look at Nixon in hindsight. The funny thing about it is Nixon was a corrupt president, but he was
Yes.
also, and people, please don't knock me for saying this, but he was also a good president. It's amazing. I mean, if you take a look at all the duties that a president has, Nixon wasn't like a bad president. He was. When we
In
look at,
hindsight.
yeah, but when we look at, okay, now he had these corruption issues, etc. But wow, when you have a bad president, a corrupt president, uh, uh, let me tell you. Well, I guess you guys are done. Let me get started.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah,
No, I'm
we,
asking.
we
I'm asking because I want you to finish up because I
you want
want
to
to
take
get. No, you gave me. You guys have started me with a new narrative. I mean, y'all always start the stuff up, and it's like make me think, and I say, okay, let me modify what I'm going to say because three heads come out with some, cleans up the narrative quite a bit. So thank
mine's
you.
empty. So I don't know about that.
Nah, yeah, that's far from true. But anyway, let me tell you guys. Look, uh, piggybacking on both Howard and Jack. I want to say the following. We have to realize that it was intended for us to not be very smart. I want you to hear that and hear that in the right context. The most dangerous thing for a country is a smart citizenry. And the reason why is they collectively come to better conclusions. Whenever, we have this thing in both computer engineering and otherwise, where we talk about the not just the commons, but the let the what is it called? Gosh, I can't remember the word now. I just had it at the tip of my tongue. But in effect, it is listen to listen to the composite intelligence of folks, and realize this. There are people that are not very red. There are people that are extremely red, etc. But when you have a knowledgeable population, when you ask that population as a whole for an answer, you can generally assume that the answer that everybody sort of coalesces to would be the right answer. So I don't know if you have seen these game programs where the person says, "I defer to the audience," and what usually happens is the audience is generally right if it's an informed population in the aggregate. What we have been doing over the years with the creation of things like Fox News and OAN and Newsmax and appendages of the Cato Institute. The Cato Institute does have valid information in it, but also information that is catered towards an ideology. We have the Heritage Foundation. These are the think tanks that prints out the material for the conservative movement. We also have, of course, beyond the Heritage Foundation, we have other organizations that are out there trying to tell you how to think, what to think, etc. A lot of times they're cooking your data to give, and I'm going to use this loosely, their truth, which is really generally lies, some type of plausibility, right? When we look, let's just take a look at the Chevron case. Make it they create a backstory that we are super regulated, that we get too many regulations from unelected officials. In other words, the FDA, the career workers aren't elected. They're just there all of the times. They're there, some of them 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. So they have experience. They have knowledge. They have what's called institutional knowledge. They're scientists, etc. They are the best people to make decisions. Congress are just lawyers and regular people that don't necessarily have to have any profession, any professionality or whatever. So, but as human beings, as Americans, we all know, whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, a janitor, a secretary, we all have a feeling of what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, based on our living experiences and what we learn in school and what we learn in society, etc. But so we can all write laws and say it would be good if this is X, Y, Z. But agencies says this is how we can make that happen based on the science, based on history, based on all these other things. You have institutions trying to tell you that you're overregulated and that these unelected, they create a false story. These unelected people are getting to make choices for you. No, all of that belongs with the Congress, and if the Congress doesn't write the laws appropriately, ultimately the six of us are going to tell you if it's right or wrong. This is just one thing. This is just separate. Now we get another ruling that says, well, this one person in the White House can do as they please, and as long as they do it under the cloak of their job as president, they're immune from any type of prosecution. And why is that okay? That is okay because we infer that when the founders of this country created the Constitution, they didn't want a president that was looking over his or her back, and they didn't want a president that after they left office, they would somehow be subject to prosecution. They infer all of that from the Constitution. They infer that this is what the founding fathers wanted. Let me first back up. I'll be honest, and a lot of you, I don't want you to take offense to this. Have some empathy for me for what I'm going to say. I don't give a damn what the founders wanted. I don't give a damn. I honestly don't. I do want a body of laws and the Constitution, but I am not going to try to get into the head of these guys. There was a time that conservatives on the Supreme Court were called textualists. Textualist means the only thing we see in the Constitution are the words. We're not going to try to put implications, and that's why we overturned Roe versus Wade, because you somehow looked at privacy and said that also meant a woman had the right to do whatever she had with her body, because we shouldn't be able to tell her what to do. That's what, Roe versus Wade used used privacy to allow women to have rights to their own body, like if they needed some reason to. So there was a time when the conservative philosophy was being textualist with the Constitution. But somehow now that Trump has become a criminal and they want to give him immunity, they no longer look at the text of the Constitution. They start to create and imagine what the founders wanted. Well, the founders also wanted me to be 3/5 of a person. Now, can you guys see why I don't necessarily have or care what the intent were? Let me tell you what I love. I love what America has done going forward. I love what the American people have said as we moved, learned, educated ourselves, and moved forward, where we looked at the humanity of all, and we started to move towards making sure the humanity of all is what we looked at, and not the facade of pigmentation, not the facade of color, etc., but that we're all human beings. All of this scares some folks. And in doing so, they intend to hurt all of you. And if you are a MAGA person that have a strong conviction for the thug in chief, the former thug in chief, that is Donald Trump, if you are one who follows this person, I want you all to think something through and ask yourself a few questions. There, for decades, whether a president is corrupt or not, he was not active. He tried not to be at least actively corrupt. He tried not to be to show himself or herself as corruption. I can only say himself because we have yet to have a woman president. But we at least he tried, right? And not only that, we looked at this person's life. Were they a good person? Were they not, etc.? What had to change within your education model that you can say, we know this guy raped a woman. That's what the judge said. We know he did quite a few bad things, including sexually assaulting women. We know that he created charities in which he stole the money for the charities to buy stuff for himself. We know that he created a false university to go and took millions of dollars from people. Each of those cases, by the way, he had to plead guilty. He had to pay millions of dollars in damages. He created product systems that, were all fraudulent. He left working class people who came and work at his hotels unpaid. He cusses he does all these things that me as a man with a daughter would never do around my daughter or want my daughter to know of me, because I do want people to say, I do want my daughter to look up to me as being her parent. And all of you out there that is supporting that for the presidency, all of you that are supporting that, ask yourself, if your daughter brought home a man with those discernible qualities, what would you think? Isn't one of the things that you also would have told your daughter, anybody who has the proclivity to do those things just won't treat you right and just won't treat anyone right, and isn't one that one can trust? So you putting your trust into somebody of that character, what makes you believe that somehow, one, they're going to do what they said, and again, they haven't done what they said they would do, that they would be truthful to you? Everything that he said on the debate scene, everything that he has said he has done is really false. The economy that many of you are telling yourself, well, the reason we're voting for him is at least the economy was good under him. That's wishful thinking and provably false. And we've done it several times, and you can find it all over. So I have to ask you, go within your mindset, and without prejudice, without all these other things, ask yourself, how can you give somebody like this credence, and try to refute anything that I have just said there with fact-based information, with what you would do with any person that was not this guy, but that was within yourself. Ask yourself, how could you do that? But before I get into the actual meeting, I see I've got 2 calls. So let me start with Mike. Come on in, Mike. Mike, you're on.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, I agree with what you said about it being personal. If that was your neighbor, or if that was a close relative who had those qualities, I don't think any of these supported MAGAs or conservatives or Republicans would tolerate that. Imagine if that neighbor or someone looked at your daughter lustfully like Donald Trump. He even speaks that way about his own daughter. Let's make this really, really personal. His own daughter. He looks at her lustfully. That is quite quite low.
Yes. You know what is also interesting, Mike, is he has a lot of support from the evangelical movement. And I can't right now. The evangelical movement it's a dying movement. A lot less people are a part of it, and they should ask themselves why the dishonesty, the dishonesty of a movement that is predicated on Jesus Christ, predicated on Jesus Christ. You have to wonder how much a pastor had to be paid through different procedures to go ahead and be supportive of not somebody this flawed, because flawed is not the word, evil is the word. Johnny, come on in.
Yeah, I was thinking about Arnie Arneson's relating the story of her 9-year-old asking her one time about these pickup trucks all parked outside of a church where they had, the rebel flags and all this kind of stuff and all these bumper stickers and how these people could hate gay people, I guess. How the people outside of a church could be violent and hateful towards other people because of the fact that those other people were just loving other people, maybe not the same as them. And so I have an answer, not the answer, but an answer. And I go to what happened on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, Bloody Sunday March of 65.
Yes.
Where police attacked civil rights movement demonstrators with horses and billy clubs and tear gas and such, just because they were walking to the state capitol as part of their advocacy for wanting civil rights. How is it that the police, in the chain of the criminal justice system that we have, they are the weakest link? You have judges and prosecutors who are presumably educated, but a policeman on the street, on the beat, doesn't necessarily have to even finish high school. And so the lack of nuanced thinking allows for that type of behavior with a badge and a gun. That makes the criminal justice system ineffective, unreliable. And so because of the fact that we have historically, purposefully, not encouraged or taught nuanced thinking, critical thinking skills, it makes it possible for those on the right who are filled with hate and misunderstanding to act out on that hate, even when they're adults. And so my answer to her 9-year-old would be, it's because we don't teach critical thinking skills and what Jesus said, to treat others the way you want to be treated. That all goes out the window when you leave church on Sunday and you start your day and you start your week on Monday. Sunday is Sunday, but every other day of the week you get to do what you want to do because no one is encouraging you to be an actual Christian.
Exactly. So thank you very much, Brother Johnny. You nailed it. The thing about it again also is there are some of us that just want to be led. There are a group of people that just want to be led. And if you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just human nature. But if you are led by the wrong person or if your faith is within the wrong person, they can lead you astray. We take a look at Jim Jones in Guyana, who took all those folks from California and other places to Guyana, and eventually over 900 of them committed suicide. Right? I mean, it can happen to just about anybody once you have left your critical thinking skills and allowed yourself, instead of independent thinking, the ability to group think or otherwise. And it's a shame, but it happens. Right now, what we have to do, in my humble opinion, going forward, is just make sure that what we do is make sure people are well informed. But Johnny, the lines are completely full, so let me jump to the other caller. Thank you for your calls every day, brother. Yes, real quick.
So may I close quick?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So I resent the fact that we, on our side, we have to always bring the receipts. We have to always engage in nuanced thinking and understanding. We have to always bend over backwards. We have to walk on eggshells. When we march across a bridge, we can't bring any self-defense items with us because of the optics. We always have to worry about how the simple-minded are going to take the news footage that they see, and that's not fair. And by the way, Nixon, even though the EPA was formed under him, that doesn't make him a great president. Or
No, it's not all.
for that. Forget.
No, I get you. I get you. Yeah.
Nixon informed Donald Trump when he said, that I could do what I can because I'm the president. Basically, that's what Nixon said. And we see that legacy now because people on our side did not want to prosecute anyone. They want to move forward all the time, like Jerry Ford pardoning Nixon. That was a travesty.
I hear you, Johnny. I can't go into why I give Nixon some kudos right now, but we'll talk about that another time. But I hear you. Thank you, brother.
Don't forget, he debated whether or not to drop a nuclear bomb on Cambodia with Kissinger.
Okay, but wait, let's be clear here. Yeah, I mean, a lot of presidents discuss whether to drop nuclear bombs or whatever, but our guy is indirectly dropping bombs on Gaza. I mean, ultimately they didn't drop a nuclear bomb. Ultimately, we are dropping 2,000 bombs all over Gaza. So I mean, I look at the American presidency as just that, the American presidency, and not Republican or Democratic. Because either many different, the only president I look at as a very moral president that we've ever had is my brother Carter, who lives on. All right, let's jump to Joe. Come on in, Joe, and then Patty. Come on in, Joe.
Hey, good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
Hey, man. So I've been just kind of hanging back and listening to everybody on the radio here lately, and man, when you get going on a rant, I swear it's like a cross between Keith Olbermann and James Earl Jones, man. It's like, whoa.
Well, if you tell me James Earl Jones, I'm going to say thank you because I revere that guy's voice and that guy's ability to speak. So thank you.
Yeah, you got it, man. We just got to work on that Keith Olbermann angle.
Okay, can I ask you a question before you start? Did I say anything incorrectly, Joe? And if that's the case, let's try to do that. Tell me, what did I say that was incorrect?
Well, so lots of things, right? So the observation is that, you and other people on the radio say that, I'm well informed. I get my news from a variety of sources, from MSNBC, ABC, Newsmax, all over. And when I hear that, it's really scary because they're not being informed at all by any of those sources.
Okay, Joe. Here's what just got to me. I don't want to interrupt you, but this is what got to me. No, Joe. I want to ask you a question, and then I want you to talk after this. Really, I asked you to please tell me what I said that was wrong, not where I got my info and all of that. So I gave a narrative that by the way, you gave me a good kudos for. Thank you. But tell me, what did I say that was incorrect specifically?
Well, you've got a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome, and you can't talk about anything else.
What did I say that was incorrect, sir? That's all I'm asking. What did I say that was incorrect?
Oh, let's see here. Let me think. There's been a lot. I should start taking notes, Egberto.
Yeah, I tell you what. Here's what I ask you to do, Joe. Think about it and call back. Yes.
Well,
okay, I tell you what.
I want to ask you. Yes. You say all the time. You say, "Look, I don't like Trump. I don't like Biden, right? But I have a better chance of getting policies that I like enacted by Biden, right?" Even
yes, sir. You're correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So
who's a criminal?
Tell me, and I'll do a deep dive, and look at the data, not the
Right.
narrative, not the spin.
Okay, just tell me. Talk to me. Don't give me
Why
the
don't you
spin.
tell
Talk to me.
something that you liked? Tell me something that you liked that Biden did, and let me look at
I'll
the
tell you,
data.
I can tell you a lot of things that I love that Biden did, and let
Just
me
give me
enumerate that
one.
for you. One, okay, that during he actually took more people out of poverty than any recent president with the policies he passed by looking at childcare and giving folks childcare, which was lost immediately afterwards when we lost the ability to when we lost the house, we could no longer extend it, but and immediately the poverty rate went back up. That's the first thing I love about him because I love humanity. What
And
else?
so,
You want me to give
when
you
I
another
dive into
one?
this, I'm going to find some definition of poverty, right? And then we're going to look at people.
We don't have to look at definitions of poverty. Poverty is starving and not having. I mean, it's not hard to figure that out. We don't need a science book to know what poverty is. So I'm saying those are one thing. But Joe, I tell you, I'm going to let you call back when you have something specific that I said was incorrect. I promise you that. You know you have a voice here, brother. Okay? So
Yeah, well,
let's
and you know what?
call me back.
Everything that you say is slanted, right? So let's
Call
let's work
Joe.
on a little bit of neutrality, man.
We'll talk. We'll talk. Thank you for calling, brothers. I want to welcome Alisaring Dreams, Billy Allison Irwin, Eric Hayes on the chat, and also Mr. No Name 1111008. Thank you for being here. Let's go to Patty. Come on in, Patty.
Good morning.
Good morning, Patty. How you doing?
I am doing well, thank you. Better after yesterday. Listening to Heather Cox Richardson Monday tell us
Hmm.
that we cannot count on the courts, we cannot count on media. It is up to we, the people, to affect.
Yes, ma'am.
We can't change history, only the future. So each one of us has 4 months to do what we do best. And I made it my assignment yesterday to go talk to candidates in my township. I'm in a Republican county, so I'm going to be represented in my township by Republicans. I went and met 3 of the candidates, and thank you for reminding me that when I was sharing truth, to do it with love. I respectfully met my candidates, told them I am voting based on character. I feel that a candidate with character, I can trust their judgment. They may not have the exact policies I have, but I can expect them to do what they believe is best. Had a wonderful meeting. Those strangers that I met, we shook hands and left as friends.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for reminding me that as I'm sharing truth, to do it with love. And I feel so much better today. I feel like they agreed with me on everything I said, which, okay, that's a wonderful thing. We found our common ground.
Wow. Patty, you just made my day. And let me just tell you, I was at a dealership 2 days ago, and this brother was a MAGA guy. You know, this guy, he's a good guy, Italian guy, and he was strong MAGA. And we are driving around in the car, and he said, we had a great time. And I told him a whole lot of things. He sat down there and he told me a few things. I sat down there and I thought, and we had a conversation. This is what they fear the most. Look up the Bacon Rebellion as well. This is what they fear the most: the populists getting together and actually seeing who the real culprits are. And we can only say that if we are not at each other's throat, but we actually, as you said, love on each other. So thank you so kindly, Patty. And you get 4 months, my dear friend. Keep up doing what you're doing.
Every day, as Tom Hartman says, despair is not an option. We have to go out and do our good work. Remember, we are the majority. We can change the future.
Amen. Thank you very much, Patty, for your call. You made my day. Let's go ahead and go to Bart. Come on in, Bart.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, brother. How
Uh,
you doing?
I'm good. You do sound like James Earl Jones. But
Oh
let me
my
help Joe.
God. I must have to come and find you and
Help
give you a hug, brother.
You got a good voice. But I'm going to help Joe out with some of the stuff that you said
Okay.
that was maybe not
Let's do it one at a
100%.
time, though. Let's do it one at a time. Go ahead.
Okay. There's no inflation.
I never said there's no inflation.
The border is closed.
I
The
never
economy
said the
is
border is
great.
closed.
There's no crime.
I never said there's no
And I'm
crime.
going to. Well, you said crime was down really low.
Okay, let's do this,
Uh,
Bart. I'm so glad. For the
let me
audience
ask.
that's listening to.
Let me.
Oh, no, no, no. I asked you for a few, not all of the lies that you thought I told. Okay, so the lies that you said I told
How
is
many?
that no, no. Hey, come on, Bart. We're two of us talking here, brother. Look here. I'm glad that you called me out on those three because you just showed how people think, right? You are a very conservative brother, and that's great. Love you still. But I am a very progressive person. When I speak about inflation, crime, and the border, I want everybody in the audience to listen because Bart is not a bad guy at all. But when I speak about those issues, Bard has the impression that I am saying there's no inflation, that the borders are closed, and that there's no crime. He listening through his prism. That is what Bard heard from me speaking. None of what he said that I said is true. There is crime. What I did say is that under, and this is provable, under Mr. Trump, there was more crime than under Mr. Biden. I didn't say what the reasons were, whatever. I'm just made a statement of fact. When they go ahead and talk about open borders, I said, first of all, I love to have people coming over. I don't want illegal immigration, but I want policies passed. We got a conservative to write immigration policies in the guy from Oklahoma. I think he was from the senator, and the Trump told them not to pass this conservative bill because he wanted to bang Biden on open borders, which it's never true that the borders are open. We have people arresting people every day, so the borders are not open. But he's designed to think that when I talk about borders, it's about open borders. And when we talk about inflation, I never said there wasn't inflation. I said, let's look at who caused inflation, and it wasn't Biden who caused it. And I gave the exact reasons why we have inflation. All inflation is an increase in price from what it was before. And the reason it's there it wasn't because solely of supply chain, but because of corporate greed. And we proved why based on looking at the price of stocks and how much profit corporations were making after raising their prices. So I want everybody to see that Bart just did us a great favor. He was going to come in after Joe and say I think Joe listens more than Bart in my opinion. Why? Because Joe couldn't come up with anything that I said that was incorrect. And you know why? Because I didn't. Bart needed to find it, so he talked about what he heard. Continue, Bart.
Yeah. Well, how about this? Why don't you get everyone to call their congressman and declare Biden under the 25th Amendment incapable to serve, and let's get Kamala in there. Why won't you do
Okay.
that? I guarantee you.
Let me be honest with you, okay? I don't think you're going to get a lot of
Please.
argument from me as far as how Biden looked on the debate. Is it the time for the 25th Amendment or anything like that? Absolutely not. Not at all. But I mean, I noticed you changed the subject, but that is okay. Bart, I gotta go. But no, I don't think it's time to talk 25th Amendment with Biden at all. But we'll talk another day. Let's
All
jump
right.
to Ilan.
Let's
Thank you, brother. Gotta go, Bart. Ilan, come on in.
Good morning, Alberto.
Good morning, my
Um,
brother.
yeah, we need to emulate Patty and get Joe to take notes. I always try to make an outline because the person who calls in has a limited amount of time, so they need to know exactly word for word what they want to express. Now, uh, under our Constitution, a president may serve only 2 terms if they are voted upon and elected. To give an example, Lyndon Baines Johnson, if he had chose to do so, could have run for a 3rd term because his first term he was not
Was
voted upon.
very
Now
true.
he succeeded from vice president. Now, I'm not saying it should happen or will happen, but just theoretically, it could happen that if Biden was needed to be succeeded, and the question is, what Democrat would get the most votes? Well, the Obamas, if Kamala chose Barack Obama as the vice president and they ran together, and then she, for whatever reason, were to turn it over to him, he could be president. And it's said in polls that he ranks on top for the president. Even Michelle would outvote or get more votes, percentage-wise than the former president, Trump. But she
Eh,
does not want to run in politics. She said that
Ilan,
repeatedly. I'm just
Ilan,
saying Obama could possibly become president again,
Ilan.
theoretically.
Yeah, Ilan, let me just tell you, okay? I love the Obamas. There are a lot of people that are capable of being president, especially after having had a Donald Trump. So, I mean, there are a lot of people that could be presidents, my brother. I don't think we have to keep going back into the well to take out old water. I think there are so many good people, both on the Republican side and the Democratic side, that would make good presidents. Look, let me tell you this, and I'm going to shock everybody. One of the most conservative people that we have is Cheney. What Cheney proved to me over the long haul, Liz Cheney, is that she is qualified to be president because she's an honorable, patriotic woman who did the right thing. And of course, and believe it or not, if she was running against a bad Democrat, a Democrat that was a horrendous piece of you know what, I would vote for her. And I would keep her in check using the different pieces of government that we do that with, basically the populist movement. But the reason I say that is I don't want us to look, if Biden cannot do the job, and I'm not convinced of that. I want him to run in this time again? I don't personally, I want somebody else, but I can still vote for him because he can still do the job. That said, there are so many people up and coming right now. There is Kamala, there is Buttigieg, there is great Newsom. I mean, we have a bench of Democrats that can be great presidents. We don't have to go back to Obama. We don't have to. There is a bench, and I think we need to be open to that and not let people think they have ownership of this thing called our politics. I think that is why Biden, I think that's the problem with a lot of folks. We see the same damn people all of the times. I want us to be expansive. Hell, I want an unknown to start going up the clan. But anyway, Elon, I got it. My phones are super filled up, so I got to go to another call. Okay. Uh, let's
Okay,
let's
Timothy McKinney.
Thank you, brother. Let's go to Donald. Donald, I hope you have a quick one because I really want to get through all these calls.
Okay, Berto. Yesterday, Biden said something. It's why I like him in some instances. He was unscripted.
And he was talking about the Senate and how they implemented, this heat bill and, time. He put out a perfect statement. Why do we even have to have this? He didn't say it in that much words, but that's the real Joe Biden right there. They need
Yes,
to
I
quit
agree.
this crap and let him speak from his heart, because the man does have a heart. The thing
Wow.
is, he is older, but he can still make the decisions. Now, I don't like his policy on a lot of stuff, and Trump is not that bad because he's going up there and shaking the swamp up. That is
Okay,
what
Donald.
we need. So to
Donald.
give and take away, I've got to do it.
Okay, Donald, you know something? I was just about to say, man, I so love you, Donald. I still do. But damn, man, how can you go from making a hell of a lot of sense to no sense, brother? Don't. I want Donald to respond to this. How can you be so sensible and then say something that isn't quite sensible?
You want the truth? Okay, it's affirmative action, it's DEI, it's all this other garbage that they force down our throats and force us. People will make the right decisions. You got to
All
leave
right.
it up to them. And
Thank you,
I want
Donald.
to work around whoever I work around, not who you tell me I have to.
I agree with
So
that
that's
100. You see why I like you. You always say something. You always say a lot of good stuff, and because you're a MAGA guy, you always think you have to throw Trump in there. Be your MAGA, but be the Donald at the same time, full time. All right?
Okay, one more thing.
Oh
We are
God,
right
go ahead.
in the pursuit of happiness. Change
Amen.
your job if you don't like it. Don't bitch
Change it.
and try to change the job. Go find a company you fit in. Get in where you can fit in and be the best you can be, and quit trying to change all this stuff. You can go. You don't have to go to a job that you hate. Find something you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. And that's
All right,
it.
we'll finish that other subject another time. Thank you very much for your call, Donald. All right, let's go to Augie. Augie, come on in, Augie. God, we got so many calls.
Yeah, good morning.
You're on, brother
Hey, one
Augie.
thing that the fathers, whatever their failings, they did not want a king ruling over them. Looks like the Republicans do. They want a king over the rest of the country, and their candidates. When somebody was talking about 25th Amendment, we had a president who wasn't fit to run or rule. Was Ronald Reagan. He had dementia his last year, but his vice president didn't take over. It was his wife that took over, which was kind of ruined dreams of those Republicans that were hoping to take over running the government at that time. And a good thing Nancy was so strong, she didn't let those Republican politicians take over that last year Ronald Reagan was in. And somehow the Republican candidates always have a way of breaking the law. Civilians aren't supposed to negotiate with foreign powers, like Nixon did with the Yen brothers when he was running against Hubert Humphrey.
Or President or Reagan did with the Iran Contra. I mean, not Iran Contra. Iran, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry for interrupting you, Augie.
Well, that's okay. When he was running against Humphrey, the Paris Peace Accords, LBJ got the North Vietnamese to go to Paris. But Nixon and the Republicans got Sinal's wife to go to South Vietnam and tell the Yen brothers, don't go to the Paris Peace Accords. Wait until the election's over, and the Republicans will give you a better deal. Well,
Illegal and evil. Augie, my lines are full. I got to go, and I want to get everybody in. But thank you so kindly, my brother. Augie, great supporter of our program here. Thank you, brother.
Going Bart facts and truth to the table, like a lot of other Republicans do. They just bring opinions. Thanks.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Augie. Got to go. Let's go to Harry. Harry, come on in. My lines are full. Come on in, Harry.
Good morning,
real quick, my brother.
Good morning, Roberto. Good morning. Good morning, Howard, and good morning, Jack. I'm with Howard. I'm disgusted, frustrated that they're going to put the hush money case on hold September 18th and all that. That's just wrong. Let's just find this guy. This guy has been convicted, and he needs to be sentenced. And, well, hopefully they'll do it on the 18th. They'll do the right thing. But anyway, when I was talking yesterday, it was Justice Roberts. Bush 43 put Justice Roberts and put Sam Alito up there. And unfortunately, if they weren't there, and then if we hadn't had who wants to be King Trump, we wouldn't have Barrett and we wouldn't have Kavanaugh. And then if the grand criminal wizard had done his job on Obama's last year and Merrick Garland had been given a hearing and been put there instead of Gorsuch, we wouldn't have this situation
Harry,
now.
I want to commend you on something. Harry, I want to commend you on something because you said something that is very important. And what was very important is that because Democrats like to play too much, and I shouldn't say too much, because they play by the rules to the T in the aggregate, what it happens is that you lose out. All three of those justices that are there because of our ineptitude. And I'll explain that another time. But Harry, I got to let you go because I got to go to Betty and I don't have a lot of time. So thank you for calling, my brother. We'll talk tomorrow. No, we got to go to Betty. Come on in, Betty.
Hi, Alberto. Look.
Hello.
Hi. If Biden was rolled in on the debate in a bed, a hospital bed, he is still for us, the people. He is, this is what we live for is love, not nothing else. And that whenever Donald got in 2016, I realized I was so hurt that I realized that America was a different America. And, we have to stand by the Democrats, no matter what, the Democrats.
Betty.
Therefore, for
Betty, let me ask you something, Betty. Let me ask you. You have friends, right?
Yes.
You have friends and family. You are an aware person. Please make sure that you talk to your friends and families and let them know how important the vote is and why they must go out there and save our country, okay?
Yeah, I've been voting 64 years, and I kind of know a little bit about it.
I tell you, I'm not going to try to give you any advice, but look, Betty, thank you so kindly for calling. Please keep listening and please keep calling.
Anyway, we need to go to war against Donald Trump and declare war on him like mouses. Get out.
Thank you very much, Betty. Thank you, Betty. Let me jump to Derek, then Brian. Come on in, Derek. Good morning, Derek.
Hey, I'll be brief. Yesterday I brought up about the Judas factor and pointed out that the Judases can't help themselves. Now what did we hear yesterday? Mr. Doggett popped up, out of that hole and saying that he wants the president to go ahead and and now think about it. What's so significant about his reveal is that he's in Texas, in Austin. So like Arsenio Hall used to say, make you go, Thank you, brother Alberto.
Thank you. I know exactly what you're saying, Derek, and you nailed it. Thank you so kindly, my brother, for calling. Always with some wisdom, even if sometimes you're saying, guys, understand what's really happening here. Thank you, Derek. All right, let's go to Brian. Brother Brian, how are you doing this morning?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing fine, sir. Talk to me.
Okay, if anybody is going to benefit from the latest Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity, it would be Obama and Biden. Biden was charged with classified documents. Is that correct? Yeah,
yes.
He had them by his bed.
He had classified documents in his home. You're correct, sir.
Yes, and the prosecutor said, no, we're not going to go to court with him because he's a feeble old man that has no memory. CNN wants the actual transcript, videotape records, not just the detracted statements. Okay? CNN wants it. Oh, so there's a problem there. Obama is immune now because he actually killed an American citizen that was fighting for the Afghan government without a trial, without due process of law. He sent a missile and he killed him. Now, what is presidential immunity? when that case comes to court.
All right.
Explain
Actually, that was actually spoken about when Obama went ahead and sent a missile to the terrorists. The item was simply this: when a police officer sees a guy and he thinks that guy had a gun and he goes ahead and he takes him out, right? You don't see that police officer being charged. So that's not a valid thing. No, there's nobody that has done what Trump has done illegally, sir. And trying to coax Obama and Biden into criminality the way that brother Trump is a criminal doesn't make any sense. But I got to jump to Ann before we close the show out. Thank you, Brian. Call tomorrow. Come on in, Ann. No, I got to get to Ann. Come on in, Ann.
I don't really have. The only thing I have to say is a complaint about the fact that you let these right-wing people, these Republicans, go on and on and on and state their case, and then you give them back a counter argument. It takes up a lot of time, and then when somebody else comes on later and your time is so short, you just give them a little bitty piece of time because your time is too short. That's not really fair. And what I'm trying to say, I know you're going to say you want to be equal, you want to have equality, give the other side an opportunity, blah, blah, blah. I understand all that. But in the end, they get to have a big chunk, and they're dead wrong, and then the other people get cut short, and that's just not fair.
Ann, do you listen every day?
I try to.
Okay, let me ask you to call early.
No, not every single day. No.
No, let me ask you. Let me tell you why. I'm exactly out of time now, but I want to ask you to call early tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. It won't be live tomorrow because it's 4th of July. On Friday, and let's talk. Let's talk about strategy. But I want to hear from you. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyway, folks, I got to jump to the studio and then come back real quick. Studio, real quick.
Oh, nothing here. Jack, what you got?
Voters, get out there, get your documents together to vote this year. It's very important.
All right, folks, today it was your show only. I covered nothing from my newsletter. Go to politicsandright.com/newsletter for what the show was about today. My name is Egberto Willis. Love you all. Thank you so kindly for being here. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics and Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled July 1st that former President Donald Trump has...
Recording stopped.